Okay, I'm going to share a portion of the screen. There we go. There's the slide. And Antoinette, wishing you all the very best for your teach back. I'm very, very excited. Over to you, friend.
Mhm. Thank you, Mark. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight and for coming to witness me in this thing that's really big for me, my teach back. It's been a year since I started doing mindfulness with Mark. And I've had time to practice and do some extra reading and research. And it's been really a lovely year. And it's been awesome to get to know all of you in the last 8 weeks, 9 weeks, however long we've been together. So being in the present moment, this is my theme for tonight, which I settled on this morning, which is an awesome theme. I just quickly want to go through some house rules. I would like to ask you guys to, if it's possible or if it's fine for you, to switch off your phones so that you can be present tonight, to close all the extra tabs on your computer, anything that can be distracting, and to just bring yourself, just land within yourself in any way that you need to be present. Let's start off with Mark, you can skip the slide. Thank you. So let's start off with a heart opening meditation. I'm going to invite you guys to close your eyes and to sit up straight. If you're on the floor, then just straighten your spine. And if you are sitting in a seat, in a chair, please place your feet flatly on the ground and cross your legs. And just settle in your body. Get your spine straight and just move the body until you feel comfortable. Find a nice position for your hands. It's often very lovely to have your hands facing upwards, the palms, and then just resting them on your thighs or on your knees. And just settling into the breath. Sighing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And another breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose. And then sigh it out through the mouth. Just let go of your day. Becoming aware of your body. And bringing the focus to your heart center. And as you breathe, breathing in through the heart. And exhaling through the heart. Inhaling beautiful white light in to the heart and swirling it around the heart. And exhaling it out into the world through your heart. And then connecting with an image of someone that you love or a pet. And if it's hard to connect with a person, you can bring up a feeling of peace or love, happiness, joy. And breathing into that feeling. And flooding your whole body with that amazing, beautiful feeling. and anchoring yourself in your body. And when you're ready, you can move your fingers and your toes and bring yourself back. And you may open your eyes. So I'd like you all to just feel into your bodies, into this present moment, and come up with a number of how you are feeling. We're not going to share it right now. We're going to keep that number in our head. But right now, just pick a number, the first number that comes to you. And non-judgmentally, open-heartedly, just thank yourself for that number. Thanks, Mark. You can skip the slide. You can skip. There we go. So, mindfulness. What is mindfulness? The definition of mindfulness. Mindfulness is paying attention on purpose in a particular way in the present moment while being open-hearted, non-judgmental, and non-reactive. You can skip the slide. So I was actually going to test myself on that to see if I could remember this definition. And I think it's probably because I've had a year already to work with it. And I've really been contemplating this definition, that I have been able to now remember it. And I'm grateful that I didn't get too nervous to remember it. But what I would like to share with you guys tonight is the biggest, from that whole definition, the part that makes the biggest impression on me is being in the present moment. And all of the rest actually lands in with that. So for me, when we break it down, Mark, you can go back one, please. When we break it down to paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment, for me, that is where I find myself right now. What am I busy doing right now when I'm paying full attention and when I'm focused? The second part for me, being non-judgmental, open-hearted, and non-reactive, that for me is how I am sitting in the world. Whether I'm in the present moment or not, by the way. So you can just skip the slide again. Thank you, Mom. Okay, go back. Thank you. So I have been a deep researcher, and I've done a lot of self-research, self-analyzation. I have really been the topic of my own research, mostly, for the most time of my life. I find being human fascinating. I find other humans absolutely fascinating. And I find myself probably the most fascinating. Not because I sit in my ego, but I think because I actually sit on the outside and I observe myself often for the things that I do, things that I say, my reactions towards people, and greatly my reactions towards myself. I have been blessed and cursed to be very in my mind when I fill in all my, when I fill in my my MBTI, my Enneagram, all of those things. I come out as a feeling person, as a thinking person. And any of you guys who are thinking, it's tough being a thinking person. because this means that your head is mostly in control. So you override, it feels like gaslighting sometimes. You override a lot of what you feel. You override a lot of what other people say to you. And it can be a challenge. As I have gone through my life, I've, like all of us, had to deal with challenges, marriages that failed. I've had postnatal depression quite badly. I've battled with periods of extreme self-doubt. And the thinking mind hasn't helped me. It's protected me, but it didn't always help me. And about 6 years ago, I was in a situation again where my mind was taking over and I was so much angst. There was so much anxiety going on. And I was just sitting one day and I just said to myself, this cannot go on like this. I can't. I'm over this. And what happened spontaneously to me was that I dropped from my head space into my heart space. And as that happened, I could literally feel it happening in my body, like my head, the overthinking that was driving me crazy actually like dropped down into my heart. And I was actually okay with everything that was going on. And I wrote in my journal about that. And I started observing myself and it started happening more and more. And I actually started realizing that this was a technique that we could use in our lives when I was in a space of overthinking and driving myself nuts. So I then started studying with the Heart Math Institute. I don't know if any of you are aware of who they are. Beautiful, beautiful work that they do. They have made a link between the mind and the heart. On top of the heart, there's a piece of brain, basically neural, like a neural network that sits on top of the heart. Mark, you actually shared it with us just the other day. And that part, fascinatingly enough, that part can be programmed. And what they say is that the heart is actually the part of, or is the organ that mostly make the decisions and then sends it up to the brain. It's not the other way around. So if you're a thinking person like me, you would think that the brain makes all the decisions and then the rest of the body and the heart must just kind of tag along. But in fact, it's really not like that. The heart is the area of the body that receives the information and then sends it up to the brain, and then the brain makes decisions about what should happen. So it's worthwhile actually then practicing living in the heart space more for ourselves and for those people around us, mostly for ourselves. And so it's been a journey for me to learn how to be kinder to myself, how to be softer, but mostly how to be in the present moment. The reason I asked you guys to take your little check-in number and just store it over here is that in the weeks that we've been together, we've spoken about this many times and about that 6 versus the 10 that we check in with. I thought about it again today, and the reason why we don't always check in with a 10 for me is that I am at that moment in time when, Mark, when you say to us, what is your number? I think about my whole day and about what still needs to happen. And then I go, oh shit, my day was a 4 and tonight I still have to work and that's a 6, so I'm a 5. But in fact, if I had to drop into the present moment right here, right now, where we're sitting, being present with each other, sitting in circle, although we're sitting in different places in the country and the world. Right here, right now, I'm actually perfectly okay. I'm 100% okay. I'm breathing, my tummy is full. I don't need anything. And I want to anchor more of that inside of me. Open-hearted living, or living with an open heart. I've done some research around that because that was also one of my themes. It's got a lot to do with empathy, with showing up. How are you showing up authentically for yourself, for the world around you? But mostly all of these things are actually about ourselves. If we don't start with ourselves, we can't give to the world. We give, but we lack. We lack. We sit and lack. And for myself, as I look at my growth that I've made in my life, and in the last year, while I've been doing the mindfulness, I have really stepped towards myself to look after myself. And I can see a massive difference in the way that I show up in the world for my kids, for my clients. And then showing up, and the way that I sit, my souls or my spirit sits in my body. The more I think about it, the more passionate I actually feel about just bringing it all back to center. Life out there is incredibly stressful. Unwinding my life backwards towards preparing for this meeting tonight, or this presentation. I went right back into my childhood, to the day I was born and to the day that I was in vitro. And I actually realized that I also did a lot of research on trauma, by the way, that a lot of the trauma that sits in us is not due to our doing. The postnatal depression that I had when my first son was born actually goes back to my mother, even before I was born. And I don't want to go into long stories because I do find that these stories are the ones that actually also trip us up in our lives. But what happened was that she had lost 3 babies before me. She was in a very, very sad state of depression. And so my primary caregiver, although I had everything that I needed, I was in a warm bed, I had food, we went on family holidays. My primary caregiver was grieving for many, many years of her life. And my little inner child, bless her little soul, didn't receive the nourishment and the love that gave me the tools, that would have given me the tools to live my life in a different way. But going back to the definition again, I know that my mother did the best that she could with all the resources that she had. And so I'm not sitting in judgment of her at all. I'm really grateful to her for having been an awesome mother to me. What I do want to share with you, however, is that when my son was born, I went into generational trauma. And it was transferred trauma, basically, that had come from even before I was born. So when I was 7 months pregnant with my son, I suddenly started feeling very anxious that this baby was going to be born stillborn. And it was 2 very hard months for me. I didn't enjoy the pregnancy the way that I was supposed to. I couldn't be in the present moment because this flipping trauma was eating away at me, and I wasn't sure what it was. And then when my baby was born, I went into such a severe response of being frightened that this child would die on me, that I was in full-blown overprotection mode of him. And it exhausted me. I exhausted myself so much that I ended up in hospital for 3 days, and I asked him just please to knock me out. And from there I went into therapy with a psychiatrist and hypnosis. And as we unpacked everything that was going on, we realized that I had taken on the grief of my mother. And so I could work through it. And by sitting with my mom, the two of us could talk about it. And she and my dad could open up about it. And we could bring healing for the whole family through it. But yeah, it's a vulnerable share that I'm sharing with you guys right now, which is also part of open-hearted living, by the way, also part of mindfulness. The way that I want to link it all up is that while I was going through all these memories of my childhood, my father not being home a lot, blah, 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 the stories, you know, we all have a story. My question to you tonight is the question that I've been asking myself for a very long time is, for how long are we still going to cling to the story before landing fully in ourselves? The story is incredible. It's an incredibly important part of who we are because it's shaped us to be who we are, but it doesn't make us who we are. And by bringing ourselves in the present moment and anchoring in the present moment, it is possible to soften the story. So I know that I have to end right now, well, soon. Mark, if you can skip the slide. Thank you. Just go back one, please. Thank you. So what I want to share with you quickly is how I get myself to be in the present moment, because it's important for myself every day to be in it as much as I can, to show up to the world as much as I can. So taking deep breaths when I find myself feeling anxious, tapping my heart to bring myself into the heart space, to drop myself from my head into my heart. It works very well. Consciously pausing when I find I've stopped breathing or when I'm feeling overwhelmed. I often use all my senses to ground, just to make sure that I know where I am. Take a deep breath, smell, look around, feel. Staying hydrated with fresh water throughout the day, enough sleep, meditation, very important for me. Time out. Give yourself a break. And also being kind to me. You can skip, Mark. Thank you. So when hard emotions come up, like 5 weeks ago when I was going through all that stuff and I shared it with you guys, ever since then I've definitely made some growth, and I've journaled a lot about it and I've thought about it. And what I realized was that at the moment that I was in that funk, I was trying to push the funk away. And this morning I did a very beautiful meditation with someone who does a guided meditation. And he invited us to be in our inner child. And the biggest gift that I received this morning was to realize that I don't always acknowledge what I'm feeling. I often push it away. And I want to, for myself, and I want to also invite you guys going forward to invite those hard feelings in and to acknowledge what you're feeling and to sit with it in the moment, to take deep breaths when you're not feeling great, to drop into your heart from your head. It's easy. Literally, what I say to myself is, Antoinette, stop. Take it down into the heart space. It's a completely different feeling that happens in the body when I do that. And I ask myself, why am I here? And what is it that that's going on wants me to see? It's often not the story that I'm making up in my mind. It's often inner child. Very often inner child. There's two things that I absolutely love doing to ground myself. The one is to spend time in nature. Nature's got a way to, she's not called our mother for no reason, to hold us. And kind of, I love to go into nature and to just discharge. And the other thing I like doing is journaling. I'm not saying that correctly. I underestimated the power of journaling for a long time in my life because I was probably doing it to impress someone, I don't know who. But ever since I actually changed my mindset around journaling and just used the journaling to let the mind flow, it's really been incredibly helpful for me. And then just being with it until it passes. The biggest gift that we can give ourselves is to be in the present moment. We hear it all the time. We hear it all the time, but it's actually something that we need to start. If you want to do it, I'm not forcing you to, but it's something that it's one of the biggest gifts that we can give ourselves. So if we can become aware of it when we are not in it, and mostly we are not. So I'm aware that I've got 2 minutes left. I wanted to do a quick meditation. I don't have time, but what I would like you to do is just to close your eyes for a few seconds, to place your hands over your heart, and to just give yourself permission to live from the heart space more. And to give yourself permission to be in the present moment more. And just then to thank yourself for this path that you've been walking all the way up to now. And for being in this body, who is our greatest teacher. Thank yourself. And tell yourself that you love yourself. Taking a deep breath in. Exhale through the nose. Another deep breath in. Exhale through the nose. Last deep breath in. And sighing it out through the mouth. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. And I'd like you to tap into your body and ask yourself, how are you feeling right now? And give yourself a number. And then if you can, just type it into the type box or the chat box and just share whether it was a 5/10, 10/2. Everything is welcome. There's no judgment. Right, 10, 10, 10. It's amazing. 7, 10. That's amazing, guys. Thank you for being present with me tonight. My homework for you is to go out there and be present every second and every minute of the day that you can be.
Thank you, Antoinette.
Pleasure. You guys.
Yeah, brought tears to my eyes actually. Yeah, and thanks so much for what you've done. Um, I'm going to offer my comments at the end as I normally do, but I'm going to invite our friends on the session to put up their hand and give you some feedback tonight. So I'm going to call on you guys. Who would like to go first? Oriel, thank you. Come on in.
Thanks so much, Antoinette. It was a fabulous session. You have such a calming, relaxing voice. The pace at which you did the session was absolutely, for me, it was calming. Even though we were present, I just felt this warmth come over me as you went through the session. I loved your exercises, also your vulnerability, sharing what you've been through. Thank you for that. I know it's not easy. So thank you so much for that. Even sharing the technique that work for you. I think we're all different, but there's so much to learn from the techniques that work for you. So like I say, sharing best practices is exceptional. So from me, thank you very much. It was absolutely fabulous.
Thank you, Oriel. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Incredible feedback, Oriel. Thank you. Stefan, you put your hand up. Please come on in. Or was that?
No, I wanted to acknowledge Oriel, but I'll talk also. It's fine. No, I think it was brave, it was courageous. I think it was open-hearted. The thing with open-heartedness, and that is beautiful. When we live with an open heart, we live fearlessly because we're not afraid of anything, you know? And I think you did it in this moment. Fear is a beautiful thing, but it can bite us from time to time. And you just reminded us, you know, we have better and worse moments, and that's all part of the experience. And about asking us what our number is, I've got a beautiful life, but not because it's easy, because I'm grateful, you know. And I love 10 because we are not our faults. And Antoinette also focused on the 10. So giving myself a number has nothing to do about how my day was. It's just because I'm so unbelievably grateful for everything. It's just simple, you know. And that is also where the open-heartedness comes in. You know, if we're also open, we're afraid of nothing. And although the experience is the experience and the journey is the journey, there's always this knowingness and remembrance. And Antoinette, I think it was beautiful. Thank you so much. And last week's as well. I was just not feeling well last week. I just want to say thank you for last week as well. Sorry, I know it's not in context, but it's just beautiful when people open up. And our hearts are not broken, it just opens. So pain and fear and hurt, they are our friends. They are our friends. No, it's sore until it's not sore anymore. Eh? When the heart breaks open. So let's just be fearless. And thank you for reminding us, Antoinette. Thank you.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank
Thanks.
you, Stefan. Incredible feedback. Thank you.
I think I'll go next.
Thank you,
Anthony, thank you so much. Sorry, Mark. Like both Odile and Stefan has said, it's, the vulnerability is amazing. I love the part where you talked about you wanting to anchor yourself in the present moment. And it brought up a word, and I was actually discussing it today. I had my tattoo redone today, by the way, guys. So I was saying to him about words, and I love words. And when you talked about anchoring, I was thinking about tethering, right? You need to tether yourself to something. And I got like this whole experience as you've tethered yourself to mindfulness. And that was for me such a beautiful sort of summary of the word tether, and for you. And then, at the beginning, I love that you said house rules, like, getting all your chickens to just all line up together. I really love that. I think it was quite cool that you started with house rules when Stefan, mentioned about asking us for our number, but you didn't ask us to share it right in at a check-in, which was something different from normal, to think about our number and only to say it at the end. So I quite like that because it gave us time to actually appreciate, thinking about it. So that was for me really nice that you did, very different. And then your story, after you shared your story, you said that, the story is a part of who you are, but it's not who you are, right? Because this is in the present moment where you are right now. And a lot of that is, I think we forget because we live so much in the past and we ruminate, and like you said, you're a thinker, so it goes over and over. So it's Mark Manson on Sakopa Biki. But yeah, so I love that because it's more about where you are right now. And today, this experience of getting this tattoo or covered up and redone, it's actually a new beginning for me. As sore as it was, I needed to stay present and I needed to remember I have to stay open to what's coming tonight. So I was excited about your presentation tonight. So thank you very much. And I think there's one more point. Yeah, the 10 out of 10. Again, Stefan, thank you very much. I will never, ever forget this. And that's intentionally getting up, being grateful, knowing that I am a 10, irrespective of whatever the world has around me. And I'm exceptionally blessed. I've always known it. I've got a family, not with money, but with love, irrespective of whether, partners come and go. But I've got more than, what I've asked for. And I was actually listening to a presenter today saying that he's got more than what he expected. And that's actually what you reminded me of today. And my number will always stay 10. Thanks, Stefan, for that. So that's in a summary. Anthony, thank you very, very much. I know that you said you went through a couple of iterations, but you gave your best version, as Mark says, from the heart. And it was really, really impactful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Danielle. Thanks very much. It's very touching.
Thank you, Danielle. Any other words for Antoinette? Okay. Wow, my friend. All I can say is a big wow. Every time you speak, every time you open your mouth, it's always something awesome and amazing. and never out of place or inappropriate. And all we did tonight was formalize it. And I know that the structure of the formalizing had you nervous, but your nerves worked for you, and you embodied what you were talking about, and you got out of your head and you delivered from your heart. And it's so good to see it, because last time it didn't go so well, and you delivered tonight like a pro, you know. Anyway, yeah, just going to go through a couple of points. Love the house rules, as Danielle said. I like the use of the word invite you into the practice position of the hands, posture, good breath instruction. I liked combining letting go of your day on the out breath. It's a nice almost affirmation with breath work. I think that's very powerful. I think people that use affirmations with breathing is excellent, a very good and advanced practice. I like it. And then focusing on the heart center and the light swirling around, and, you know, exhaling. If I tell you something strange, last night I was lying in bed, and for the first time in a long time, I dropped into my heart. So I'm a little bit overwhelmed, because I did that last night, and it's not something I normally do. So interesting. Your sound is great. Your lighting is beautiful. Your background is incredible. I know that's a piece of your work. You look beautiful. You've really shown up so well. You know, you mentioned bring up the feeling and then flood your body. And that's such an advanced meditation technique from the Himalayan point of view, because, and I kind of forgot it as well, is that bring up the feeling of love, or bring up the feeling of whatever it is you're trying to muster, and then let it flood your body, like let it ride that feeling. And it's such an unusual thing to hear. So I found that very profound. Anchoring yourself in your body, beautiful words to say. You've definitely got the language of mindfulness. Then, you know, moving your fingers, toes as you come out the practice. Intriguing about the check-in, creating curiosity, creating mystery, and having us on our edge around it, on the edge of our seat. I was wondering what's going on. Didn't expect it. Definition, bringing that in. And I love the fact that you did it from your memory to show that you memorized it. Brilliant, you know. And then saying it. Yeah, you know, I just said it and I've memorized it, and that's so powerful and so wonderful. I think that's very important, is to memorize this definition. Yeah, being present and how it means to you in the now. Your own research of being human, of other people, observing yourself. I think you've always been a mindful person. I think you've always been introspective. Tough being a thinking person. Yes, I am a thinking person too. I know the drill. I know it well. Yeah, Oriel said your pace was good. I agree. The personal account of your mind, your mind states, your life, very vulnerable. And how the thinking mind hasn't helped you. So true. But you know, you just seemed so composed tonight, and just really collected. very focused and very mindful, extremely embodied. I love the thread, right, from the opening meditation to what you were saying about the heart and the technique and the Heart Math Institute. To bring that in is awesome. Perhaps you could have given us a little website link or a little takeaway there that we could have gone to have a look at, but it's very good. And how the neural network sits on top of the heart, that is amazing. And sends signals to the brain. I found that very, very interesting. I love the imagery you used of the lady with a smile and the heart, and it was really powerful. I was still intrigued about the check-in, waiting, what's happening. It, always in the back of my mind, what's going on with the check-in, keeping me in suspense. But you know, when you said just to drop into the present moment, you're perfectly okay, I don't need anything. I want to anchor more of that. You know, I just felt like myself jumped for joy. Like, yay, you know, finally, like some really pithy instruction on how to live my life and how to deal with my thoughts, my fears, my mind. In a way, I just felt you were talking directly to me. I loved how you speak from the heart, no reading of notes, authentic, powerful, just being you, Antoinette. Love the long pauses and how you talk with your hands, going back into your childhood, your story of your mom, and the relationship and the healing. And I mean, it's just so beautiful. I had this image of you and your mom and your dad sort of working through it together, and it just, yeah, I'm a very visual person. So as you're talking, I'm just seeing it in my mind and feeling the immense awesomeness and the power of that work. I have the same with my father. I carry his trauma. And I'm reliving his life at my age. I'm literally doing what he did over again at the same age. And it's really, really, really fucking weird. It's just really weird, but I'm not going to land up in the same way. It's just the same thing. So yeah, I got that completely. Your therapy, finding out that you've taken on the grief of your mom, what a wonderful story. And then such a powerful thing to say, how long are we going to cling on to this story? You know, how long? Wow. I had goosebumps at that point. And it's possible to soften the story. You know, it's very realistic. The story's not going to go away, but it made me believe that the story can be softened. And you made me feel that. You made me believe that. Love the slide when hard emotions come up. Why are you here? What are you wanting me to see? What a wonderful thing to say, you know, to those emotions. I've been saying, thank you for the warning, but I'm okay. It's okay. Thanks for the warning. Thanks, guys. I'm okay. You know, trying to, so everyone sort of coming up with a narrative around it, but very similar. The only thing I can critique you is the spelling error on the slide until you had 2 L's. So if you're going to present this again, just change that one, just take that 1 L out. I love the tips, how long we're going to cling to the story. I feel that when you talk, there are pauses, but I feel that you are giving yourself space to choose the right words. And then you do, and then you deliver, you know, which is again, a subtle teaching to us all, to pause, you know, and find the words you want to say without just running through it. And you did, you really did. So listening to you is like a meditation. What else? Yep. Great advice on journaling. Made me feel like I want to journal. Another great thread of coming back to the present moment. Love the give yourself permission to live from the heart space and be more present. And I think, you know, I'm always asking for a thread, right? A thread throughout the presentation. There was two parts to your presentation: the heart and now, and the present. You know, so present and heart. But you know, you put them together beautifully. And then in the opening meditation, to be present in the heart, right? So it was like they came together, then they go out, then they came together. It was really quite fascinating how that worked. And the thread carried its way all the way through, right until the end. So congratulations on keeping that thread alive and going. That's where most people make mistakes, is they somehow slip out of the thread and go off on a tangent. But you didn't. You contained it beautifully. Powerful ending, bringing in some gratitude, thanking yourself. A nice pace for the breath work. Thought it was good. And I know that we've been chatting. Stefan came in with, you know, the thing about the numbers. And you just took that ball and ran with it. And then, you know, at the end, I just felt like it just made so much sense, right? And I finally got it. I finally understood it, because I was like, I wasn't quite getting it over the last couple of weeks, and then, oh, today I just got it. I got what, you know, what Stefan was meaning, what you picked up on, and how we can be a 10 if we just, in this moment, living open from the heart, as Stefan said, and wholeheartedly. You know, there's no fear now. There isn't any fear now. If we think of an imaginary future, then we're going to fear. But right now, everything's fine. As you know, full tummy, you're warm, everything's fine. Right now, everything's a 10 now. You know what I mean? And that just made a whole lot of sense. And how you figured out your number being from the past and then later, and then kind of figuring it all out and then giving yourself a number, that, you know, that was really interesting to hear how you get to those numbers. Yeah, gee, you know, teaching this old dog lots of new tricks. You guys. I'm a student here. You know, I'm just loving the teachings that I'm getting. So thank you, Antoinette. Very happy, super happy. Lovely to see you shine. Lovely to see how professional you are. I think you're ready for Insight Timer. Start putting your meditations up. I think you're ready to start your, you know, you're doing your meditations in the forest. You're getting 80 people coming in winter, or 70 people in the middle of winter, lying there in the cold, listening to you with your bowls and your meditations. God, and I wish I was living in Cape Town. I really do, because I wouldn't miss a session, and I'd love to hear you facilitate your work in that space too. And I think, you know, the only way is up. The only, you know, the doors are open for you. And I'm sure there will be many more that will, because of your powerful presence, your kind hearts, your wisdom, and your ability to just be real and authentic. So, yeah. Thank you. Very happy. Well done.
Thank you, Mark. Wow, that was really beautiful feedback from everybody. Thank you so much. I feel very humbled, and I feel seen, very seen. And that's an awesome, awesome feeling to have. Yeah. Thank you so much. I want to share with you that picture. I actually typed it into DALL-E on AI, ChatGTP.
Okay.
It's a chat GTP or whatever. And I said to them, create a picture for me of a person who is living open-heartedly, and that's what they came up with.
Wow. So those are original images.
Yeah, so both
Stunning.
of those. Yeah, the man standing, that was the first one. It was really
Yeah,
beautiful. I
yeah,
couldn't crop it. I tried to, and it just wouldn't work. And then the woman, very beautiful. Yeah.
stunning, stunning. Yeah, that's some really good use of tech. And you said you don't know much about tech, but there you go, hey, whipping out these AI images. Interestingly enough, Antoinette, I was friendly with a guy from school, and about 12, 13 years ago, he's part of an Indian spiritual group, and he says all you have to do, there's no other meditation, but just keep your focus at the heart. That's it. He said, that's all you do. Just keep your focus at the heart. And I thought that was really interesting because that's a whole school in India with a guru and everything. They were talking about it. So it did actually bring some memories back from my friend Clayton. He did send me a website, but oh my word, now I can't. I mean, it's been a long time.
So if you look at a baby, when a baby is basically conceived, the first organ and the first life, basically, when life starts, is the heart.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's so awesome because if you go really subtle, because I was lying in bed last night and I put my hands on my heart and I was breathing into that space, and I could just feel that beating as well. So like the beating and the breath really can keep you there, out of your head. So, but yeah, it's difficult sometimes to feel the heart beating. That's why it's also nice to put your hands and sort of. I like the tapping idea, to bring yourself back, to the heart, as a reminder. That's also very good. Yeah, yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Pleasure. Stefan, thank you for bringing in the 10. I think it's touched a lot of our lives. I didn't want to, like, in the presentation say, Stefan, thank you. But it really dropped in for me. It dropped in for me when it came to present moment stuff about why we are always a 10, actually. At the beginning, I also thought, like, geez, you are a 10. How the hell? Like, but it is. We are always the 10, if we are in the present moment. Anyway, that's my view. That doesn't mean you have to say that. You can choose whatever you want to, but
Exactly. Now you put things into beautiful perspective. The two of you uh, secretly collaborated to help with this understanding. So I'm really grateful.
and Mark, thank you to you. I mean, I've done this twice with you now, and I, I mean, there's mindfulness is so vast. There are so many topics that you could bring in. I don't know how you chose to bring the topics in, which you did, into the 8. It is 8 weeks, right?
Yeah,
That we
yeah,
together.
yeah.
It kind of, for me, it just gave me enough to make me curious about this and curious about that, and to think more about this and go into this a little bit deeper and whatever. So, I mean, I only started mindfulness a year ago, so whatever you saw tonight is a product of
Wow.
what I started last year.
Yeah, well,
Really. So,
you've just taken it and made it better. That's all. I can't deliver like you did tonight. There's no way. I'll be honest.
you
No,
can, and you, yeah.
not like with your finesse and your grace. Really, really, really well done. I mean, what we saw last week as well. I mean, with Oriel and Danielle, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Excellent,
Beautiful, yeah.
very high level, very proud. Everyone's doing a great job, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
All right. Well, that's just Antoinette tonight. But we don't need anything more tonight. Bronwyn is next week. And if anybody else wants to go, just reach out to me, give me a date. Okay. And we'll make it happen. All right, guys. Big hugs, and we'll see you next Thursday. Have a beautiful weekend.
Bye. Thank you,
Bye,
Antoinette.
everyone. Thanks, Antoinette.
Bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Bye.
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 Yeah, sure.
Cheers.